Yes, 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 yes. Good evening, wonderful good evening to you all, my conscious Edo people, wherever you're watching me from. Uh, I remain no other person than yours, noble right activist, Comrade Agbogun Emmanuel. It's been a beautiful day from morning till now. I've been up and running, despite the fact that we are not too economically efficient to move around the way we ought to do in our normal way. The truth be said, while I'm taking time to explain all of this, is basically because my name within the past 48 hours since the incident of what happened in the palace within myself and Eghosa Ugbo, who I believe I have given too much attention to, basically because he seemed not to realize that people don't reason alike. Some of us don't think the way he ought to think, basically because we live in a global village. And very well, there have been issues. When I say issues that border on what is conscious and what is subconscious and what is unconscious. Eghosa Ugbo might not like my person. That is very clear. That is, I don't even need a soothsayer to tell me that. He might not like my person, as the case may be, but there are very many issues that he fails to realize. That whether he likes it or not, he shouldn't require a soothsayer to tell him that I criticize very many activities that are in the palace. But one thing I will not do is to insult the monarch in the way and manner he is portraying it before the public. I would have expected Eghosa Ugbo to tell me that, those things he's saying about me, there are very many facts to prove it. Particularly as a Benin man that I am, I never grew up in this part of town, but courtesy demand that I must trace my origin. I would really want to beg Ugbo as a person, having known me over the years, to really take time to know the family I come from. That's one thing I want to ask him to do as a human being. He had made mention about investigations. He has also made mentions about issue burden on my certificates. He has also made mentions about issues burden on my marital status, and even alleged me of having children as if I'm a baby factory. And I laugh because the two things between me and Ugbo, which everybody knows, for some of you who might not know, is the issue of our society. It is the issue of our society in Benin. And I'm very happy that I haven't taken time to watch what has happened over, will I call it, the past 2 weeks. If you all would have recalled, I was in Port Harcourt when I got too many calls of what was going on in Amaba. And I'm going to say certain things tonight. From tomorrow, whether you hate me or love me, whether you don't like me or hate me, I think that what has transpired in the palace at my visit with the people of Obey community, where 11 borough pits have been sold to different persons, where Roland Ekwoy, the person who the palace has recently suspended for deputizing the respect and the statue of our monarch, as it is widely spread in the statements that were written from the authorities of the palace, as the case may be. And I'm very happy that my attack did not happen outside the authority of the palace, that most of whom were present at the press briefing that the palace read, where they said that members of the public and the Benin Kingdom appears not to have been aware of the fact that the palace have since started a cleansing process. A cleansing process. And whereas they have seen that there are some traditional issues that have happened with the practice of one man. And this one man, they forget that this one man cannot control the organs of the palace. Knowing the Benin Palace, as the case may be, the Benin Palace has the administrative wing, has the socio-cultural wing, has the institutional wing, as the case may be, being the palace of the monarch, as the case may be. I would want to delve on the part of the administrative wing for now. The administrative wing of the Benin Traditional Council is headed by the monarch. But under the administrative wing, there are various segments. You have the CSP, you have the security, you have the staffs, and you have the admin. And what is the duty of the admin headed by the secretary? The duty of the admin headed by the secretary is to transmit mails, information, messages from the public to the monarch. If I decide to take a matter up with the Traditional Council, I must have to pass through the office of the secretary to transmit whatever mail or whatever information I feel necessary to administer to our Reverend Monarch. But there are certain things the public fails to realize. That in all of this information, in all of these activities, people write messages through the administrative wings for nearly 10 years, 5 years, 4 years, 2 years. There is never a response to those messages. Particularly when the messages indict this practice. I'm very happy that if you watch out throughout the statement of Eghosa Ugbo, he never said anything about my statements on Roland Ekwoy. Psychologically, what that tells you is that he's being forced to fight himself with his emotions. And those emotions are those things that are their practice. Now, let me take time to inform each and every one of you. Within the era of Roland Ekwoy and the forceful installation of Okaos and Enoges, there were always administrative documents that interpreted those statements of the monarch, while Roland Ekwoy must have made those subjects of the monarch who came to seek for solution for justice to believe that whatever thing that he has come out to say was the position of the monarch. Now, was the secretary telling me that even where people go as far as protest, going as far as social media statements, going as far as even intending to go to court and even going to court, were the secretary of the palace telling me that he was not aware that Roland Ekwoy was installing Okaos, Eniges without due diligence from our monarch? Within the past 1 month, I've been to the palace twice, and I've been to the palace 3 times, and on those occasions, I've been intimidated and harassed in the palace. Most people forget one thing: a system that you don't believe in, you don't even patronize it. If I don't believe in social media, I won't come here. If I don't believe in development, I won't be an activist. If I don't believe in doing or protecting or standing for those things that are right, I won't be talking. Just 2 days ago, some people protested after I protested to government house over their inabilities to understand that their actions are anti-people and it is destroying the peace of the society. They went to the NUJ, they alleged that I was a mercenaries. I was very happy that they hired very popular media stations in Benin during that protest, but none of them consulted me to hear my response in a case where my name has been mentioned. But when it has to do with them, I believe they always oblige even before they use my news. I am one man who believes that awareness is the consciousness that we all must understand. Awareness, however that awareness gets to you, it is only my mouth. Let me tell you, if 20% of the activists in Edo State decide to be conscious and come out to be plain to what they have understood about the activities of those people surrounding the authority of the palace, I bet you will see that Emmanuel Agbogun will be a saint. If just 20% of those activists that you know in Benin, they come out to be vocal, to be honest to their conscience, to be honest to society, to ensure that we know our problem and we resolve it, you will see that I am a saint too. The video that Eghosa Ugbo has been spreading that I took around the palace, to show them, immediately after that he jumped into Olugbo issue. He never said one thing, that since Johnson Ashelege was oppressing the Beninese, now that the Beninese has taken over, what is the living standard of our people in Olugbo? Despite the fact that without selling lands, those people get economic fortune to the tune of $1 billion in a year. When you check about royalties and other benefits that accrue to oil exploration in those communities. Basically, why my Facebook page was growing over time, there were some videos I was making at the time. I never understood how to operate the broadcast avenue. Most times after I finish doing video, I will just say post. I will say delete this video after 30 days. Those videos will not remain in my platform anymore. There were very many videos where I even spoke the very first time Eghosa Ugbo said issues about my driving around the palace and showing the issues of defense. In 2012, if there are itineraries to show visitors that visited the palace, in 2012, Omonobanedo Ukwa Polopolo Oba, Erediawa of blessed memory, invited myself and other comrades in Benin, where the monarch gave us assorted drinks, gave us cow, gave us money to the tune of I think 80,000 or thereabout, saying that we should go about organizing a peaceful Edo Youth Summit, that he has capacity in our ability to reason as sensible youths. There were very many persons I can identify who were present in that palace at the time. And I will repeat today for the sake of public, because Eghosa Ugbo has said at one point in time he was supporting us, he was doing this, he was doing that. I, as a human being, will never deny a road I passed through to get to where I am in my life. I was cultured and trained by a very reverend Benin woman who happens to be my grandmother. Even if over time I never felt that language was a barrier to a man, but I haven't gotten far in life. I decided to understand that language is really a barrier, and that's why I'm in Benin. But to shock very many of you that I know distant time, I will even speak Benin more on my platform than even English. It will shock very many of you. But having said this, on the issue of Eghosa Ugbo, I would want those across the globe who pick interest in what we say and who pick interest in what society ought to be should take their time and secure an independent investigator to find out if what we are saying is lies or what Ugbo is saying is a lie. Because you know why I'm saying this thing? Society might decide to be, unconcerned, but feel entertained by the statements we make. But one thing is paramount, that people are even trading on lies, trading on deceit, trading on subconsciousness of the minds of people, and working on their, will I call it, their intellectual abilities to create economic fortunes for themselves. And at the end of the day, they will say they were the smarter ones. Ask me, having written several petitions to the palace, and there is never a response, not until when we decide to toe the path of mediating. Continue, despite the way I have preached about Roland Eghosa, I was one of the people who started the message of Roland Eghosa in 2017. Whenever you go to the palace, there was a form of confrontation. If you go to the palace, they will tell you to come. I've been to the palace several with over 8 communities. Igbo can attest to the fact they will tell you to come in the morning, 10 o'clock. You will end up waiting in the palace till maybe 4 in the evening. They might not call your case. And when they don't call your case, all of a sudden somebody might just come out to announce Igwomo and Ikwomo. You will step forward. It is Roland Eghosa that you will see that will come out. You will not say, Omonumba has said this, Omonumba has said this, Omonumba has said this. Oba atop everybody say the people that feel pleased will jubilate home. But I tell you, our monarch is not even aware of what has transpired. Most of these things occurred until when I started meeting communities like Egbai, until when I came in contact with communities like Ologbo, until when I came in contact with communities like Ubiaza. There are very many information, even the royalties, majority of the royalties that do not live in Nigeria, very many of them, even those who live in Nigeria, there are several issues that we hear that ordinarily, if an enemy of the palace, I will come out to shout, oh, look at what they say is happening, oh, look at. I will consult, there are very many. I would ask questions. And when they say, oh boy, this issue don't dive into it because of what it will relate to, and I'll look at the consequences, and I'll ask myself to keep quiet. Let me tell you the truth. I am way too informed. I am way too informed of activities in that palace more than even the secretary. I can assure you. Most of you might be joking. I have seen communities where they collected letters from secretary. At the end of the day, the Enoge will go with a higher bid. They will say that letter issued is not from them. All the letters that are used to administrate Benin communities are signed by the secretary of the Oba of Benin Palace. All the letters that have caused confusion in every community in Benin are issued by the secretary of the Oba of Benin Palace. How many of those messages have they taken time to find out who issued those statements? Was it truly from the monarch? How many times? My conscious Edo people, particularly with the Beninese, the kind of elements we have in the palace, they are worse than politicians. And I want to, at this point, go to the tracts that talks about the personality and character of Eghosa Ugbo. Fares Okpere are mentioning sound minds that they see as Edo youth who are towing the right path. Fares Okpere is a living witness. Osakpino is a living witness. Danechi is a living witness. Omobude Agu is a living witness. Jude Obasomi is a living witness. Thompson Osadolo is a living witness. Comrade Popos is also a living witness. I can continue mentioning, but I think I haven't mentioned these numbers. They are very active participants on social media. Very many of them who have mentioned. They will tell you that Eghosa Ugbo is the highest patronizer of illegal firearms. I'm stating this here. Eghosa Ugbo is the highest patronizer of betrayal. Eghosa Ugbo is the highest patronizer of betrayal. In 2012, 2013, we were fighting the property tax. And some certain things emerged that it came to a point where the government could no longer contend with the fact that they have grossly misappropriated their rights in government and as government. They had to look for some of us at young age to bribe. I want you all to listen. Kola Edopa is alive. Osakpino is alive. Omobude Agu is alive. They approached even me in my house in Ikobayi. And I told them, see, I'm not willing. What we are after is that government should invest in those people's money well with the loans that are borrowed. Let us see how the Benin Water Storm project wants to be achieved. Let us see how things be done properly. Eghosa Ugbo went behind us, collected 5 million naira from Edo State government. After collecting those like sum, he was offered an appointment on SSC of Media to Adams Oshomole. The same Adams Oshomole government arrested him for small arm profilation. Because of most of you will not understand what I've just said, for holding pistol, Beretta, gun. However, when he went to beg, they fiddled with the way they do it and they forgave him, and the matter was thrown out of court. I do not want to mention how many times he was arrested by Kasim Afueba and some other of our Kuku Edo brothers, Afemai brothers, who Eghosa Ugbo decided to frustrate, having used them to secure an accommodation in what is it popularly known as? Is it not Binoni, Gapiona, Binoni? No, is it Gapiona? Yes, Gapiona, Binoni Crescent of the GRA axis. These people are all alive. They can tell you the antecedent of Ugbo. I don't want to mention how he even wrote petitions against me through the most lettered or media lawyer we have in Edo. Barrister Awolabi Afolabi, and I told Awolabi is still alive that tomorrow the same Ugbo that you are thinking you are assisting, you will see that it's not worth it. And you also see that in the long run, he's nothing but an embodiment of criminality. Let me say today, if there are 50 activists in Edo State, 50 human rights activists in Edo State, I don't think I fall short of first 10. I don't think I fall short of first 10. And let me also make it very broad today. If the first 20 human rights activists who are currently engaging the injustices that are meted out on our people currently and daily and weekly and monthly and yearly in Edo State for the past 10 years decide to be honest, they will tell you that 70 to 80 to 90% of the queries, community issues and crises and insecurity in Edo State is caused by those surrounding the environment of the palace. I repeat again for the purpose of clarity. In all of the issues we have raised over the years, what Kotubo is finding me wanting for is for the fact that an employment that was created within the mode of the palace where I felt should ordinarily be questioned if anybody decides to take it off. And the palace did same. And it was removed. And nobody shook horns. I never came to social media one day to post that video to tell you how evil these people are. Go to all my platforms. That video, you cannot see it on media handles except for persons who were in this our greater what's it called? Concern beneath songs, I be concerned Edo songs. There was a group that was created for social media. Someone added me to that platform, and I believe very many senior persons were in that platform. But all of a sudden, there were some rancor of people who were pro-palace and anti-palace, and that was how that group died. It was where some of us were saying that in the face of unemployment, look at what the traditional council and the palace were doing to entrepreneurs who were making money out of the traditional system, who ought to be encouraged. It was at the point when I had done that video before informations on our platform started trickling that the palace was compensated. Also, the palace had decided to compensate those persons whose houses were in that environment. And after which, I never took on serious with the matter. But even as active participants on that platform, we had a clause that whatever information that was disseminated by members of the public and people who are concerned to give information, that it should not exceed that platform. But however, sooner do I or later do I know that they will use it against me. My intentions for good is now haunting me by evildoers who believe that, oh, with what this boy have said, they can use it against him tomorrow. Name my kind of person. Let me tell you the truth. Ugbo is very, very comfortable around me. He's very, very. This same Ugbo will talk about me, but he will not make mention. Go and look at all the things Ugbo has said since the beginning of his attack on me in the palace. He has not mentioned about the fact that he wrote petition to the highest police formation in Edo State, where you have the best set of investigators that you can ever think of in Edo State, being the AIG. He wrote petitions. After he wrote those petitions, I was arrested. After he arrested me, I was investigated. And in all that transpired, Ugbo, being somebody who he says is honest, never came out to say that these people told him that all his allegations are false and baseless. Ugbo now started parading the fact that I am in talk with Monkey Face. Yes, Monkey Face is somebody that I know. I have known him long on social media before he started antagonizing the palace. He has been, if you want to know this is, I'm telling you if I'm lying or not, go to Facebook. If you know how to check how long somebody has been a friend, you check it, you understand what I'm talking about. Not until when I saw a video where people of our traditional worshippers and what have you came out openly to swear for Monkey Face. I never knew that that was the Monkey Face that people were talking about. But one thing Ugbo fails to realize is that knowing somebody, talking to somebody, does not mean that you share the same philosophical ideologies with him. There's never a time that anybody will come out to say that Emmanuel Agbogun has come out openly to abuse the monarch. All I do is criticism. All I do is to criticize. All I do is criticize. And what I criticize is what affects the common people. After the Midwest declaration, I came out to say, our Reverend Monarch, why are you believing in Rolls Royce? Why don't you think of investing that money for Rolls Royce to empower youths in Edo so that they can be gainfully employed at the time when court killings, armed robbery, looting, snatching was an everyday occurrence in the city, particularly in the area where Ugbo is described today as the Oba of Benin's palace. I want to say today without any form of fear and favor, Ugbo has linked my name to a family in Agbo, saying that I'm a member of that family and I'm this and I'm that and I'm this and I'm that. I want to ask Ugbo today, he made mention of research. He made mention of research. Has he really researched? Has Ugbo really researched to know that what he's saying is false? He made mentions about Ashelege and my person. Has Ugbo really sat down to research, to make mention, to know, to find out if what I am saying or what he is saying is nothing but the truth? Coming to think of it, Ugbo took nearly 30 minutes of his time discussing and abusing Naija Watch. Discussing, abusing, criticizing Naija Watch to the extent that somebody who is a Benin man, who his father I think has created more opportunities for souls in Benin. I've never seen Naija Watch all my life, but over time, following his issues and his programs, I make bold to say that he's one of the best Benin presenters we have across the Edo social media space. I make bold to say, without any form of fear and favor, if you want to know about social media within the last 6 to 7 years, Naija Watch can actually do more than majority of the medias you have around. Majority of the medias you have around claiming that they are this or they are that. Eghosa Ugbo in 2012 was always, proactive on social media. Then I never had that consciousness. You see him, he was always saying, I want to make posts on social media. He was going about his face-to-face foundation. Ask him today, where is that foundation? Ask Eghosa Ugbo, what is his second address? Ask Eghosa Ugbo, what is your second address? Let me tell you today, the real enemies of Benin Kingdom are surrounding Benin Kingdom. And why I say they are surrounding Benin Kingdom is not within the community, so it's within the authorities in the palace. Somebody as big as the Enoge, as big as the secretary of the palace, and Enoge will be installed without the approval of the monarch. The secretary will say he is not aware. 1, 2, 3, 4 Enoges will attend this, and Okaos will attend such ceremony. Not only that, administrative documents carrying palace logo, stamp, seal, and message with columns and volume paper will be transmitted from the palace to those communities, appointing Okageles, appointing Okaos, appointing Eniges, appointing Ohens, and the secretary will not be aware. There's never an Enige or an Okao or an Enoge that they will appoint that will not also write a thank you letter to the palace. I come from a community where Enoge is installed. The Oba of Benin sent his delegate, the Asere of Benin Kingdom, who happens to come from my own community. The Asere of Benin Kingdom happens to come from my own host community. He was there when my Enoge was crowned. And at the coronation of my Enoge, or at the visit of my Enoge, I told Ugbo that my father is a Benin chief. What did he say? He said a man should go and do a video with this man for him to believe. And that was when I knew that this guy is having some level or some areas of, advanced mental disorder or upcoming mental disorder. I will go and post a Benin man's picture on social media that is not my father. Then I laughed. Ugbo has taken time over the years. He has taken time to ensure that he discredits any group of persons that decides to draw consciousness to his person, or to disagree with those illegalities that he indulged in doing. I am always sending a message only sending a message. It is in this same Benin where we all find ourselves. That these individuals are doing all of these things. They are palace chiefs. They are elders in the palace. They are messengers in the palace. There's a bureaucratic neck in the palace. Can they deeply ask the question, are these people innocent of what you have been alleged for? Are they? By tomorrow morning, I am going to put just 2 statement papers emanating from the palace. Just 2 over a particular stew of leadership. By the time I place them, if what I'm saying is false, or if what I'm saying is untrue, then let the judges begin to pass out their judgment on my person. I would want to take a pause at the moment, because if you observe, my attention is being called out of this broadcast to attend to other issues that I have to meet up with. As I speak to you now, I'm scheduled to travel this very minute. But one thing I would want to make clear to our people is that not until when we decide to grow within the ranks of civilization, within the ranks of the rule of law, within the ranks of best global practice, we will continue to remain second-class citizens in the world. And this society will only benefit those people who have outsmarted the generality of the public for their private gains. Once again, I'm Comrade Emmanuel. I want to thank each and every one of you who have been here with me. It is my own way of doing my thing. And I also want to appreciate each and every one of you who have been calling. It will be very wrong of me not to actually do that. A lot of people have been calling, he might do this, he might do that, but I have come out plain to say that I wouldn't get myself involved. A lot of people are also looking up to me to hear more, but I decided to be very reserved because I am over-engaged with informations that if I decide to explode, let's leave it at that. Once again, bye for now. I'm Comrade Agbogun Emmanuel. It's my own way of responding to